The one thing that I have learned over my career is the higher you move up the ladder of responsibility, the more critical your leadership ability becomes. Of course, as we begin our careers, our technical knowledge is essential. But as we climb up that ladder, our ability to influence people, build connections with people, and relate to people are the skills that take us to the top. So how did I get to where I am today? And how did I get on this educational leadership journey I'm on? Well, my journey began when I was a child because my grandfather told me I was a leader. Here's what I mean. So my cousins and I would be in a room playing, and about 25 of us were in that room. So as you would imagine, it would often get a little noisy. My grandfather would always call out, Kim and Jackie. Jackie is my cousin. When that happened, he would say, lower your voice. So one day, I asked my grandfather, I said, Grandpa, why do you always pick on me? He said, I'm not picking on you, Kim. When you raise your voice, everyone else raises their voice. When you lower your voice, everyone else lowers their voice. So, what my grandfather was telling me was that other people would follow me because I influenced them. That message stuck with me. Now, as I entered high school, I wish I could tell you that I was positively using my gift of influence, but I wasn't. Instead, I used it to convince my friends to do things I wanted, not necessarily what we needed to do to succeed. I even carried that trend with me into my college career. You see, when I was a freshman in college, I joined the Reserve Officer Training Course, also known as ROTC. Again, I would love to tell you that I used my leadership to be an outstanding cadet. But that would not be accurate. Instead, my fellow cadets rated me the worst cadet in our organization in the first year. Yes, I said the worst cadet. Why? Because for everything they asked me to do, my response was, no, I don't do that. No, don't do that. No, I don't do that. But here's the bad part about it. I would convince other people to agree with me not to do that. So, I was rated as the worst cadet. Now, as you can imagine, being relatively young, that really hurt my feelings. So, I decided I needed to make a change. And I went from the worst cadet to the best cadet. Now, I know you're wondering, how did I do that? Well, I adjusted my attitude and I began to use my leadership positively. As a result, I became my ROTC's Corps' first cadet commander. So I went from last to first by positively using my influence as a leader. Then I went on to have a very successful military career where I won numerous awards, medals, and commendations. And I became a senior leader in my career field. Then when I retired, I became what I considered the best job I've ever had. A teacher. Yes, a teacher. I became a ninth grade science teacher. Now, don't get me wrong. I absolutely loved my military career. I think it was the second best career you can have. But there is something special about being a teacher because you have the privilege to shape, mold, and influence young lives. So I took all of the leadership skills I had learned in my 20 years in the military and brought those skills into the classroom to help raise the next generation of leaders. And that's what I did during the years I taught in the classroom. Well, over time, people would approach me and say, "You should become an administrator." So after a few years, I decided to take an administrative position downtown at the central office. While I worked as an administrator at the central office, I also became an adjunct college professor because I wanted to stay connected as an educator to young people. You see, I missed daily interactions with students, and I wanted to help them grow, not just in their content knowledge or technical skills, but also as leaders. So after a few years at the central office, I returned to a school site to take on a site-based administrative position. Eventually, I was promoted to principal of my high school. Yes, I said principal. Now, I know for some of you, you're thinking, oh gosh, thinking back to when you were in high school and you had to go to the principal's office. But of course, some of you were like most of my students. I only saw them during lunch duty, in the hallways, or at an athletic or chorus event, or in the classroom. But a few of you remember the trip to the principal's office was not always pleasant. I know you're laughing. You're saying to yourself, I remember those days. But I want you to also understand the role of the principal is not just what many traditionally think of as a disciplinarian. You see, a high school principal runs a mid-sized company. I had more than 150 employees working for me. In addition, I had human resources, finance, food service, transportation, maintenance, facilities, inventory, and operations. I had a budget of close to $12 million that I was responsible for. You name it, and I had it. So, my leadership skills were extremely important as I tried to ensure that we produce those excellent workers needed in organizations today. And that's what we get to do as site-based administrators. I'm also an executive director and founding partner of the Maxwell Leadership Certified Team. I became aware of John Maxwell early in my military career by reading several of his leadership books that were recommended to me by my mentors. So when John decided to start his coaching company, I said, this is precisely what I'm looking for because I want to help people be as effective as they possibly can be and reach their full potential. Let me tell you about the job that has honed my leadership skills to be the highly effective leader I am today. Now, I know you're thinking it was being a military officer, or being a principal, or being an executive director, but no, it's being the very proud mother of 5 children. Yes, I said 5 children. Can you believe I have 5 beautiful, wonderfully gifted, independent children? Each has a personality and quirks that have challenged me as their mother to lead them in the right direction. As I continue my journey as an educational leader, not only am I a wife and a mother of 5 children, but I also have 5 awesome, talented, gifted grandchildren. I also continue to teach as an adjunct faculty member and consult as an executive coach. Additionally, I continue to be passionate about leadership and education. And my leadership philosophy of leading by example. I am an educational leader, and that's my superpower.